What's up, gang? Today we're going to talk about how to be successful on the slow carb diet. First and foremost, make a list of exactly what you want to eat and then stick to it. Go to the grocery store every Sunday and buy every single thing that you're going to eat throughout the week and then stick exactly to that. You're going to have, or you're best if you choose 2 options per meal. 2 options for a breakfast, 2 options for a lunch, and 2 options for a dinner. And repeat those same things over and over and over again. Choose something that you like that you can eat in a big amount and stick to it. Don't try to get creative and do a different meal for every single breakfast, every single lunch, and every single dinner. It's going to get too complicated. There's going to be a lot of prep time, a lot of cleanup, a lot of changes. Pick one thing that you like and eat it over and over and over again. The most successful I've ever been, I had the exact same meal for breakfast, lunch, and dinner every single day that I was doing this except for the binge day. Experiment with new meals that you want to add on your binge day. So choose things you already know that you like and that you've done before. If you want to try a new slow carb dinner or a new slow carb lunch, throw it in on your cheat day where you have unlimited restrictions. Because if that meal doesn't go well, then it doesn't really matter because you can go crush a cheeseburger and not feel any guilt. But if that experiment or a new meal doesn't go well on Wednesday when you're starting to get those cravings and you're really starting to break and you make this food that you really don't want to eat, you don't like, and you don't have any other options, that's when you end up self-sabotaging. That's when you end up breaking the rules, eating the sugar that you shouldn't be eating. If you want to experiment with something new, do it when there aren't no punishments for doing whatever. Cook that new meal while you're drinking a glass of wine and eating a whole bunch of bag of chips or sugar or candy, whatever you want. Doesn't really matter. Weigh in 1 time per week. Don't weigh in every single day, and make sure you weigh in at the right time. Weigh in Saturday morning or whatever your binge day is that morning, and don't do it again until the next week. If you do it every single day, especially when you're weighing in around your cheat days, you're going to see the weight go up and down and it's going to stress you out. Just weigh in 1 time per week. Don't modify any of the rules. Experiment over time when you have a baseline, but stick to what the rules are. Don't add dairy. Some people can get away with it, some people can't, but don't. Establish a baseline of what you're doing within the rules for 4 or 5 weeks, then add dairy and see the impact. Then add some of the foods that are questionable. But stick to the rules and create what your body's going to respond to, how much you're eating, how you feel before you introduce those foods. Too often people will modify it right out of the gate. They won't get the results that they were expecting to. They found out that it wasn't sustainable. They're unhappy, and then they fall off the wagon. It's like, hey, what did you do? They're like, I was doing the slow carb diet, but I added a whole bunch of cheese to breakfast, and I did sweet potatoes here, and I was eating tons of guacamole and whatever. Just stick to the rules. See how long you can go. How to do a slow carb diet? Eat salsa. Use salsa. Throw salsa on a chicken. Throw salsa onto your eggs. It is perfectly allowed in every single thing that you do, and it's going to be a big help. Eat insane amounts of what you like. I will eat an entire can. I could eat 2 entire cans of green beans at every single meal. This is going to keep me full, keep me happy. It's going to be something that's super healthy and within the rules. I love eggs. I'll eat a ton of eggs. Literally will do 5, 6, 7, 8 egg whites with 1 or 2 whole eggs, and then 2 cans of green beans, and I'd be perfectly happy. Eat insane amounts of what you do like so that you don't get hungry and you don't get those cravings too strong. When we get hungry and we start thinking about all the things we can't have because it's restrictive, that's when we do self-sabotage and hurt ourselves. Whatever it is that you like, if you like this particular type of beans, this particular type of veggies, or this meat, consume it in insane amounts. Don't track your calories. Don't track your macros. Just eat within the rules until you're full, and then stop eating once you're full. One tip I didn't write up on here. Whenever you are getting cravings and you want to binge, you want to cheat, write down exactly what you want to do and plan out your binge day. That helps you with your cravings in the moment because it's not saying I can never have it. It's saying I'm going to have it when. When you push off that reward, it's so much sweeter when you have it, and it helps you curb those cravings in the moment. I love to plan out my binge days in advance. It gets me excited. It gives me something to look forward to, and then I don't cheat in the moment. Wednesday night, Thursday night, where the cravings are high and it feels like the weekend's really far away, if I sit down and I actually write it out, it's like, hey, I'm going to go get this Hershey bar and this Chipotle burrito, it makes me feel amazing. It's a very important tip. Common mistakes that you'll run into when you're doing the slow carb diet. 1, not doing 30 grams of protein within 30 minutes. This is true of the slow carb diet, and it's true of any other eating plan. People who don't get 30 grams of protein within 30 minutes of waking up can stall during anything, particularly on the slow carb diet, not see any weight loss for 1 or 2 weeks, then they force that 30 grams of protein within 30 minutes and their fat loss starts to plummet again. I've seen it go for people who are not doing any kind of meal plan, they're just eating whatever. I say first thing you do is add 30 grams of protein within 30 minutes waking up and they instantly start to lose weight. There's a lot of benefits come with that. Second common mistake people make: not eating enough protein or not eating enough food in general. There are a lot of things that are going to happen. If you're not getting enough protein, you're going to get hungry, you're going to get cravings. Or if you're not eating enough food in general, you're going to get hungry and you're going to get cravings. It's going to lead to cheating on the diet and you're going to damage your metabolism. You want to eat enough. If you restrict calories too much, you're actually going to have an adverse effect and slow down your metabolism. By doing the slow carb diet, we're not trying to cut calories down to burn fat. We're trying to choose the right things that are naturally going to do that, but they're going to keep your metabolism functioning the way that we want. Eat a ton of food on this. Stick to the rules and eat a ton, eat a ton, eat a ton, eat a ton. Don't restrict it. Don't restrict your calories. If you are tracking your macros and you're doing this diet and you see your proteins double what it should be and your fat's getting really high up there, ignore it. Just stick to the rules and see what happens at the weigh-in. Not drinking enough water. Drink a ton of water, especially on your binge day. It's going to have a huge impact on your metabolism and your fat loss. If you're doing this diet and you believe you're sticking to all of the rules and your coach agrees you're sticking to all the rules but you're not losing like you feel like you should, maybe not double, but start drinking a whole lot more water and let's see what happens. I bet you that's going to increase your fat loss. Mistiming weigh-ins. This is a big deal. If you did a hard workout the day before, if you're really, really stressed, you're not getting any sleep, you're eating things that are higher in sodium, that's going to impact your weigh-in. If you don't weigh in consistently under the same circumstances and only once a week, you're going to see those numbers fluctuate and it's going to stress you out. Ladies, if you mistime your weigh-ins with your menstrual cycle, you're going to get some numbers that may not make you feel good or happy, but they will be very misleading. Make sure your weigh-ins are consistent, timed regularly, and you understand the variables that go involved in it. That's why we're looking at a 4-week timeline and not just a 1-week timeline to evaluate how we're doing every time. One really common mistake is believing that you will cook and try new things. That is absolutely not true unless you are a chef and somebody who enjoys cooking. You enjoy the prep, you enjoy the experimenting, and you enjoy the cleanup. I hate all of those things personally. I want convenience in terms of get it in my belly as fast as possible and the most minimal amount of cleanup I can get. That's why making a list of what you currently like and then sticking to it. I know the things that I like take very little to prepare and very little to clean up. When you start adding prep time into it, you don't know exactly what it's going to take and it adds a lot of hours or minutes. And then the cleanup also, you're going to quit. You're going to get frustrated, you're going to get bored, you're going to get cravings, you're going to get irritated with it, you're not going to stick to it. This is especially true of young men. Last time I did this, I was single. I just wanted food. To think that I was going to become a chef was a huge mistake. Overconsuming of artificial sweeteners, they can wreak havoc on your blood sugar. You can get insulin spikes, which is going to give you different cravings. You're going to end up caving. It can also have a really bad impact on your metabolism overall. We know about this when it comes to Diet Cokes and things like that. So if you have a little bit of artificial sweeteners with your coffee in the morning or whatever, that's probably not going to be a big deal, but it's easy to overconsume on those and mess you up. So one of the common mistakes is just thinking that you can put artificial sweeteners into everything and that you're still doing good. Overeating domino foods. Domino foods meaning you can start eating them a little bit, they make you feel good, you eat them a lot, and then you accidentally eat too much of what it happens to be. Peanuts, garbanzo beans, hummus, guacamole. These are things that you are safe to snack on in moderate amounts, but they're also very, very, very easy to overconsume. You rely on them as a snack, which is why one of the rules is don't snack. You rely on them to snack and then you ultimately overeat during the day. You have a little bit of peanuts or a little bit of hummus between each meal. Those volumes increase and what you don't realize that you're actually overconsuming on them. Don't snack, stick to the things that you like. Training too hard and training too often is a huge mistake that people can make here. All we're looking for is the minimum effective dosage so that you can burn fat, build muscle, and feel healthy, not so that you can be a world champion and burn the most amount of fat as fast as possible. What starts to happen when you train too hard or train too often is you create a further deficit where you do have to eat more food. It's going to increase your cravings, it's going to ultimately increase your consumption, and then you may start to get frustrated because if you train really, really, really hard and you eat foods like this that don't make you feel overly full, It's going to be really hard to fill a huge caloric deficit with a bunch of beans and a bunch of chicken if you're training too hard too often. It's ultimately going to lead to self-sabotage. You're going to end up consuming too much sport drinks, too much food or domino foods in general, or you're going to get too hungry and you're just going to quit and eat things that you shouldn't be eating. So don't try to train 7 days a week, super intense, doing the slow carb diet. 2 or 3 days, especially what we do in the gym, is perfect. Go in, sweat, feel good, do the minimum amount of work that you need to do to make progress, and then go home. Don't stress about your training that you need to be the most hardcore person in the gym. Just do a little bit of work and feel good. When I was most successful on this diet, I did 3 workouts per week. They took about 45 minutes. It was a lot of strict strength training movements. Then in the Metcons, it was strict movements, no kipping, no sprints, no nothing crazy, and it was super easy to maintain for me. Same thing for you. Don't make any of these mistakes. Stick to these simple rules and behaviors and the 5 rules that we went over in the last video. If you have questions about specifics, post them on here. I will be addressing them during the live Q&As and responding to all these different things. And I'm posting all of my meals, binge days and regular days, and I'm going to update you on all of my weigh-ins. If you follow us on the Instagram page, I'll also post them in this Facebook group also. Do the work.